try to convince them that the paranormal exists. This is cultural. And that was my aspect. And, you know, I listened to my fans, and I also, you know, I share just as much curiosity with them on this subject matter. And this is where it's gotten me. It's got me here, you know, the door opening and me facing major surgery. And that's where I'm at. This camera may not continue recording because every camera is failing on me. Even my Chromebook didn't want to record. I got myself in this situation. Me. And it's so cliche that it makes me angry. The footsteps, the scratches. I feel like a pendeja. Hey guys, it's yours truly, and I am here at the notorious place of where they say that the devil himself danced with a woman. This is the place known as El Camaroncito. It is pretty eerie, pretty scary. Just take a look at all of that. But this is a story that has been shared within the heritage of my family. I never thought in a million years I'd be making a documentary on a documentary. And where do I begin? Thank you. There was no smoke, there was no brimstone, there were no demons, there was no devil or goat man or not even a witch. I saw nothing but debris that they were throwing in the trash. And I was kind of devastated, to be honest. Nothing, not even a scary mural or nothing. When I was filming, I was disappointed. But then half of me said, it's history. People respect it, people remember it, and when it's gone, which it could have been gone, people will somewhat mourn, saying they never had that opportunity. They were throwing everything away in the trash, in this giant dumpster. And so I asked them, you know, from this small little pile, could I have, you know, a keepsake or two? And the guys didn't care. They said, sure. And so I took, you know, like an exit sign home, a brick that I would later realize is part of the original building home, and pieces of mirror. And I said, this is part of history. It's part of our culture. It's historic. I brought it all home, and I brought something with me. The thing is, I am one of the only people that have recently gone in. And I can honestly say that me being so fascinated with this place, that I am very on guard with the things that have previously happened to me. I probably honestly was caught off guard, maybe possibly tricked into just going into the building. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I've been very fascinated with the place, and to be given this opportunity so quickly, to the point where I was given access so immediately that I didn't even have time to register and possibly say a prayer, be spiritually on check. And after leaving there, things were happening. Even while recording this, things were happening where I've had to do multiple outtakes. It's hard to describe because I'm a very logical, analytical person who loves to have factual, relevant evidence and saying there is a pattern, there is some sort of formulaic, situation. But there are a lot of things in which I cannot explain. And so that is the hardest thing. I'm not here to be the hype man for the things that are occurring, but I knew with this documentary that things may happen because I am going into a territory that some people don't like to discuss. And also, I love telling this story because I feel that romanticism. I feel you almost can smell the smoke in the air and taste the stale beer and hear the conjunto music and imagine the eyes of these fearless men who have been working a hard day's work and doesn't want to be bull crapped into anything illogical and stupid. And they had to do this. They had to deal with it. And like I said, I'm a very logical, factual person, but I love the spice. I love building that story for you guys. And I'm not a ghost hunter. I don't do all of that. Things just happen to me. And I've already spoken with the priest, and he says because I'm very artistic, that it's going to happen to me even more so. And just to be careful. And nonetheless, I tell these stories to keep the culture alive, keep an open mind. So I have now had to resort to using a laptop camera because now both my cameras have just died. My cell phone camera is also dead and it's not registering. I've deleted so many files. I have available gigs. I would really love to kind of film that to show you, but I'm all out of cameras. And so that's kind of where we're at. But I really kind of wanted to just be as personal with you about all of this to let you be the judge of what's going on and what I'm experiencing, and you make that call. My goal was not to capture evidence of the paranormal in any way, shape, or form, really. It was just to cover from like this cultural aspect of, San Antonio. These were stories handed down from generation to generation. And I wasn't going to try to shed any light or twist any sort of narratives. It was just going to be that this is part of our history. This is part of our culture. I'm not here to make people have a buy-in on anything else. That's not that. I was trying to be taken more seriously as a filmmaker. I had made other different types of movies and stuff like that, and I just really wanted to add, another notch to my belt of being a serious documentary like filmmaker. Like that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything else. And so the goal was get B-roll, probably put some artwork, and then, me do the storytelling kind of thing and talk to people, If anybody could get people to talk about the paranormal stories and the folklore, it would be me. I'm not like gonna not say, I was doing this because people are so fascinated with the subject matter, because I was fascinated with the subject matter. I was gonna say, if you do something well that people take interest in, do it. But here we are. This is technically the price that I'm paying. But I it's my fault because I probably should have continued to do the pros and cons list. However, I could be worse off. This story, this story of a man who danced with a woman only for the woman to find out his feet were a hoof and a chicken foot, and got chased into the bathroom and poof was gone. You gotta pardon me on me having this resentment for the story now. There was a great way. There was this fantastical way in which I explained it. Maybe I'll put a cut into it where I say, here, watch this video from a YouTube video in which I posted. Why? Because I'm so over it. I'm so over it. Look what it's done to me. I can't even go fishing. Like, you would be angry too. And the things and the and the worst part is people are going to be like, well, I want to go out there and experience it. No, you don't want to go out there and experience it unless you want to lose a potential organ. I don't know. Do you? Like, that's a risk you're taking. And I'd like to take pride in saying I'm a pretty faithful person. I feel like I am pretty grounded with my faith, and I'm pretty sensible. But it threw me off. It outsmarted a very successful, well, I'm not a saleswoman anymore, but I was one of the top, cream of the crop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew how to get a job done, and I knew when somebody was selling me something, and the damn thing sold me. And so here we are, subject matter of El Camaroncito, building a place where everybody talks about that, where the devil danced with a woman, and she shouldn't have been dancing there, and she shouldn't have been doing this. I feel like now I'm kind of like that pinche lady, because they told her, don't go out, don't do this. People told me, don't make this documentary. You don't really know what you're asking for. And I said, well, it's kind of fake. So, like, I'll be okay. Austin has one. What does that tell you? And here we are. Here we are. And so that is what I'm talking about. A place where the devil danced with a woman and then left. Never heard he came back. It became a strip club. What happened about that? Never heard him come into the strip club. We are going to talk about El Camaroncito. Or even, well, we don't say his name, for he has many, but you know who I'm talking about. El Camaroncito, one of the most iconic clubs. It is the very club that they say where a woman danced with the devil. They say that one night at this club, El Camaroncito, that a young girl was hesitant on going. She wasn't sure. And against her parents' wishes, she decided to go anyways. And there she met the most handsome man she had ever laid her eyes on. And the man looked at her. Guess he liked what he saw, and he asked her to dance. And there they were, on the center of the floor, dancing, while the patrons watched this beautiful couple. And then all of a sudden, he stepped on her foot. And when she looked down, terror in her face, she paused as the horror did not fully register within her mind. She let out this blood-curdling scream as if he were murdering her on the dance floor. Everything stopped. Everything. The patrons, the waitresses, the conjunto band stopped. They all looked at them, and she pointed down at his feet. One was a hoof with dark fur around his tailored pant, and the other was a chicken foot. When the woman looked back up at his face, he had the most devious smile. This handsome man, this handsome, gorgeous man, was smiling at her so deviously. His piercing, sinister eyes looked at her. And she screamed again, and the patron snapped out of it. These were West Side men, fearless. They ran at the man. Full speed, no hesitation, hoof and chicken foot or not. They went at him, and he ran as fast as he could and headed for the men's bathroom. When the patrons, enraged, filled with that liquid courage, went into the bathroom, it was gone. Nothing but the stench of sulfur. Now, I know that there's a lot of people out there that say that the story is very similar to other bars, and that El Camaroncito was built in the 70s. However, I've been collecting these stories since I was a little girl. Chubby little girl, still chubby, doesn't matter. I'd go to the panderia. I'd go to anywhere they make tacos, talk to the old people, talk to the young people. This story's been around since the 40s and 50s. Apparently. He also came during the 70s. This place is iconically known. The place was built in 1939. and there was an elderly woman. I would say she was in her 60s, maybe mid 60s, very coherent, very well dressed. You could tell she was well off and very distinguished, very educated. And she came up to me and she said, "I love the way you told your story." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." She goes, "I want you to know something." And I said, "What?" She goes, "My father was there. He was a policeman during one of these appearances." There was just subtleties, how it started and then it escalated. When I got home, I started hearing footsteps that were like every 2 hours. From every 2 hours, it went down to every hour. From every hour, it went down to every 30 minutes. I have a really great way of tuning things out. I will just be like, whatever. And I'm trying to get the light out of here, even though the light's a good thing. And so it transitioned, right? It got through all of that. And so I said, whatever. And one morning, I'm just hearing Mexican music. I'm hearing Mexican music in the morning. We really don't have neighbors. We literally have an empty lot over here. There's nothing. There's literally nothing on the lot. We don't have backyard neighbors because they were renters and they moved out. The lady diagonally across us passed away. We have one neighbor, and he is the most quiet man we've ever lived with. Pretty much, I think the entire time we've lived here. And he's so quiet. So I know it wasn't him. He doesn't bring out a boombox. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't have parties at his residence. So that's how I knew. It wasn't any, and in my household, we really don't hear conjunto music. And I'm not someone that is, documenting everything. I mean, I was working on a documentary. The expectation is I'm filming when I'm ready, when I'm in my damn setup. And there's a formal way of me filming, which is me having to charge the camera, do all of that, be ready. And yeah, it takes a lot of work. I'm a chubby gal. That's a lot of effort. And I'm not recording 24/7. And I wasn't going to sensationalize my documentary and saying, "Oh, I'm being haunted." That wasn't the goal. The goal was bringing iconic storytelling
maybe overacted storytelling, but to bring that intensity, bring all of that as a performance and say we are honoring this on a cultural aspect. But I wasn't documenting everything, you know? Why would I? Why would I record getting up in the morning? Who does that? Like maybe like serious vloggers? But guess who loves to edit? Not this woman. Do you know how many takes I've taken of this? Probably 3. Just so that way I have one consistent, good, whatever video. And so that's how I am. That's, you know, I'm not gonna dazzle things for you and just make it seem like, oh, this is filmland and we don't ever talk about how hard it is to edit. Hell yeah, it's a lot of work. I don't believe in having to record things that I will have to literally edit significantly later because I suck at it, okay? And so anyways, I I just I still tuned it out. You know, I hear this stuff. I'm not saying I don't hear it, but I'm just like, okay, well, I'll talk to someone about it later. I'm not going to empower it by being fearful of it. And I kind of just stayed stoic. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I heard that. I heard that. You know, no, no. Because I knew if it was something that it was just going to get worse, it was going to get a kick out of hearing me cry or whatever, react. So I was like, screw that. It wasn't until I was pretty much recording. So in the documentary, which doesn't have a name yet, which I've stopped in editing because we're working on this now. I've got a wig, I've got, you know, my makeup and all this other stuff, and that's me recorded ready, you know. And I realized while I'm like doing all my stuff, I have a scratch mark somewhere here. And I don't ever scratch this. It's not like I have, you know, some sort of like rash or anything. No. And I had 2 little light scratch marks while I'm talking about it. And I don't know if it was before or after when I realized that I had it, but the crazy part was that during this take where I'm talking about like the donkey lady or the dancing devils and millions, I don't even remember. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning and I'm completely awake. I drank both a frappuccino and a monster, not at the same time, but like I want to say like maybe 4 hours you know, between. And I'm just there. And I know that all this shit is happening. All this stuff, you know, the footsteps, the music. And I'm saying, nah, you know, like, we're going to still make this documentary. It doesn't matter. It's got to go out. It's got to go out. We got COVID. People are going to watch this documentary. Like, I'm setting up these expectations to release. I'm setting up these expectations to release quickly. And I'm like, we're going to do this. We are going to do this. I'm going to be hyped up. I'm not going to listen to anything, any other distractions. This isn't going to happen. And I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to get into the scene. I'm trying to get into that feeling. We're there, you know? And then all of a sudden, I hear a growl. I hear a light growl. And then I'm like, it's nothing, man. Maybe it's, who knows, right? Maybe it's a little dog. Maybe, who knows? And then I'm still talking. I'm still trying to, you know, I'm still trying to say, I'm going to get back into that same sentence, reset, and try to get back into the scene. And then I hear a louder growl. And you can see in my eyes, and I'm like, screw this, man. I've already gotten out, like, of character because it's a bigger growl. It's a more serious growl. And you can lightly hear it. But just my facial reactions, like, it's 2 in the morning. For me, it's a fascinating place filled with history, filled with interesting.
I just heard a growl, and I'm gonna put this on. So I am filming. It's already past midnight. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I really hope that was some sort of strange foreign engine. I'm gonna truck along, and we're gonna logically not do this. I am very alert. It's 2 in the morning. I've drank a monster. I am not the type of female that will be intimidated. But let's get into it.
And I don't like seeing that footage. There's something that makes me sick when I look at that footage, because I feel like I'm trying to like ignore it, but it's still trying to grab my attention and things of that nature. And yeah, it really kind of disturbs me looking at me trying to say you don't exist, me being kind of, I guess, indirectly in denial.
I heard like something distorted moaning. I don't know. I'm filming here, but I don't think jack shit is gonna show up. Not to say I'm asking for it. I'm just saying I just heard something.
Damn, I hate this sunlight. It's really like annoying. But that's where we are, you know? And the scratch marks, the footsteps, the music, it's not bad. The growl, I think it was just mocking me to make me take takes over and over, talk about it over and over and over again, just like I'm taking takes over and over again right now on different cameras that have either failed or the footage got corrupted or some crazy thing of that particular extent. Crazy, like it's hard. And I'm sweating here. I'm sweating in this room, in this couch. I've turned off the air conditioner so you can hear me more clearly. And the pinche door opens when I'm talking about me getting a blessing with the Father. You know, I share just as much curiosity with them on this subject matter. And this is where it's gotten me. It's got me here. You know, the door opening and me facing major surgery. And that's where I'm at. This camera may not continue recording because every camera is failing on me. Even my Chromebook didn't want to record. I got myself in this situation. I talked to a therapist about my anxiety and stuff like that. A lot of people have anxiety, so I'm not afraid to talk about my anxiety. And so it never hurts to talk to a therapist. And you know, I was telling her about all these incidents that have happened, right? And I was like, well, it could just be me. It could just be my subconsciousness. It could be a lot of things. And I was like, so what are your thoughts? And she's like, well, you need to talk to a shaman or a priest. And I'm like, aren't you going to give me like some sort of underlying explanation, you know, some Freudian sort of theories right now? And she didn't. She said, talk to a priest or shaman, you know, they'll help you out. And I'm like, cleanse your house, therapist. And so I take her advice, right? And I talk to Father Bob and I call him up and I tell him this is a situation. I said I could be, could be overreacting. It could be my subconsciousness getting to me, all this stuff, happening. You know, he was like, you know what? We'll do a prayer over the phone. He was very sweet, very, very unlike, the priest that I encountered in Catholic school. And I was like, dang, he's a nice priest. I should probably go to church there. And I probably will if, I get better. So, but, he did a prayer over the phone. And so, you know, I felt a little bit better, but then all of a sudden, then I want to say not the next morning, but the morning after that morning, I was clipping a little toenail, and it's early in the morning, and then I feel this pain, like this pain that is so intense, you don't realize anything. You don't realize that you should probably call a family member because you're in so much pain. You literally say, let me call the ambulance, who will probably break through the doors of my home to come help me. That is how bad the pain was. Hood. It's a hood. Come on. It's a hood. Okay, it's gone. So I'm just there one morning. And so it's probably the day after that, or maybe the day after that day. So that I'm clipping my toenail, and I'm like just doing that, almost done, and then all of a sudden feel this pain. I feel this pain that is just beyond me. Like I'm the type of person with a very high tolerance to pain. I, have walked on a broken toe, walked on a broken foot, dislocated a knee, um, crazy stuff like that. I like to pride myself in being, of the warrior heritage and all of that. And I just, it was a pain that you feel, and you say, if I don't make the right kind of moves, I'm going to die. Like, it felt like an internal, like my stomach was compressing, like the muscles were like freezing up. At the same time, it felt like one organ somewhere inside me was going to explode. And that's what I told, the priest after all of this, that it was going to explode. I knew something was going to pop. And at the time, I thought I had herniated myself. I, messed up my arm, moving furniture. And I said, well, what if I didn't carry it right? What if I tore something internally within my stomach because of this? Like, that was my mentality. I was going to put money on saying, it's a hernia. I got a hernia. This is where I'm at. I've got terrible back pain. And now this thing happened. And I kid you not, I felt like I was going to die on my bed. No lie. Like, real time. I'm going to die on my bed, pass away. And that's the end of me. They'll find me dead in the back. And the other half of my logical side of my brain is like, maybe if we don't move you so quickly, we subtly allow this contraction to not overcome this organ. So I thought it was a hernia, and you have no idea, like, how much I had invested in the concept of a hernia. Because I was so like, it's hernia. I messed up myself. This is my own doing. It's nothing else. It's nothing else. No. I get a CT scan. I go to urgent care. CT scan. They're like, okay, so you didn't mess up your stomach, you didn't, you don't have a hernia. You have, it's your gallbladder. You've got sludge, you've got gallstones. Thing is, I'm not a big fan of eating fried foods. I maybe once in a while, maybe Chick-fil-A, but that's that's where we're at. And right now, as we speak, if I feel nauseous or if I feel pain, I need to go to the emergency room to have emergency surgery. So, and so where we're at right now is, if at any point in time, even during filming, if I feel nauseous or if I feel pain in my stomach, I am to go to the emergency room where they will most likely conduct emergency surgery. These are serious times. You know, I've lost a friend recently. People are passing away out there, and I have to deal with me going into surgery now during the time of COVID. And it's a lot to bear on somebody to go through all of this and have to possibly, die. And when I tell people it's a real deal, people are just like, dang, I'm never going there. And I'm like, good, don't go there. So I call Father Bob. And Father Bob, we meet. I thought about filming. I filmed a little bit after. I really wanted to have respect for the church. I've never met somebody like Father Bob, so like chill, logical. I really didn't want to be disrespectful. And like, I went there thinking, he's just going to say a prayer. I'm not going to feel anything, you know, but it'll probably work. And I wound up like tearing. And as soon as he was done with his blessing, like the pain in my back was like half of it was gone. It was like lifted. And like I kid you not, right before, like the concepts of I'm going to die like so many people out there, death is there. That's not how that's I knew it was something. I knew something was tricking me because of the very fact that I don't think like that. I don't I've already faced death with the robbery. Once you're robbed in that method and it's that brutal, you just come to terms with death. You're just like, oh, I'm going to die. Okay. Well, I lived it up. I've met amazing people. Met amazing. I've I've really just had an amazing life, you know? So I knew something was trying to influence me, trying to scare me. But little did it know that I knew myself and I'm not afraid to die. We are afraid to die, but not like that. Not to say you're going to die from this surgery because everybody's dying from COVID. Like, and you're going to catch it. Like, I wouldn't think like that. It would be sad. I would be pretty let down that I couldn't live a little bit longer to achieve my dreams and goals, but I don't think like that. And that's when I knew a little son of a bitch was trying to influence me. And that's when I called Father Bob. Father Bob, he definitely helped me out with that blessing. And like I said, I felt different and I was like, gotcha. I knew it. I knew something was there. And he talked to me about oppressors, about things that were trying to influence and just keep you down. And I was like, it's probably one of those. And but yeah, I mean, I feel so much better. after all of that. I feel more centered, I feel more grounded with my faith. So we're going to St. Henry's. I am on the way to get a blessing from Father Bob, and hopefully I can get some holy water for the artifacts and see if he can bless that if possible. Okay, so we just finished. Father Bob did a blessing on me, and he gave me Easter Sunday holy water to douse on the artifacts. And I honestly feel like, a giant weight. Like, I had a lot of back pain, and the back pain is pretty much like going away. So I don't know. All I can say is, kids, do not play on dangerous ground like that, because yeah, Father Bob's super cool. I'm probably gonna go to like service here. These are the relics that I was given. They're pretty haunted. I just had a great meeting or prayer meeting with Father Bob. This isn't just regular holy water. This is Easter holy water. My brother said while I was in the rectory with Father Bob doing my prayer, which is something that I will not share even on film with anyone. He heard something back here. He heard some like thumping. So I thought I'd document. I think I was in denial. Every time I said a story, every time I talked about it, even when I visited it, I didn't really see it as him, the father of lies. Lucifer, Zamiel, Beelzebub. I saw it as something else. I somehow was able to disjoint it from these, I don't know what you want to call it, legends, folklore, whatever. You kind of somehow negotiate that away as some sort of different spirit. It wasn't the true actual devil. It was something else that looked like the devil, is what I would tell myself. It wasn't the literal entity of Lucifer or Satan. It was something else. What were the chances? How was this possible? Why was this possible? That the literal devil, one of the most beautiful angels cast down into hell, managed to go and visit a bar in the West Side, which was one of the toughest sides of the city. Why? How could this happen? And I guess some part of me in my own denial said, this is not true. This is not real. I would never, because who would really want? And I guess somewhere within me, I negotiated down to this very concept that it was not really the devil. It was something else, at the very least. If the 1 in a million chance was true, it was not really the devil. It was something literally else.
Because if I truly came to terms with that I was playing around with real fire, not like fake special effects fire, real literal fire, I don't think I could handle it. And now that I think about it, it just leaves this unnervingness, kind of like saying I was striking matches around an open gas line. Something to that nature. But you really don't realize what you're playing with until something happens. And that's when you realize how dangerous it is. I was playing with the concept of a being, as old as time. I never really came to terms with it. I never really looked at it from that spectrum. That what if it truly was the actual devil? And that is where I lacked respect. Respect by the people that tried to tell me and warn me that crazy things happen there. I still, even with that being said, I did not believe it. I did not believe in any of that. And I failed to respect so many different things. Whether it was the entity itself, whether it was what people told me, and what I told myself. I didn't respect my own thoughts entirely because I persuaded myself into thinking it's not truly the devil and it's not really haunted. That is where I'm at. That is the same narrative of I doubted and I did not respect a lot of things. And that is the truth of me. People will say I went to this haunted place, blah 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 blah, who knows what it is, or it's the ghost of so and so. I literally went to a place where they said the devil showed up, and I still convinced myself it wasn't the devil. Maybe it was a ghost, maybe it was paranormal, whatever, and that's still not even probably real. So continue making this documentary. People want to watch it. And this is where I've landed. This is reality. This is the grittiness of the realism. And if there's one thing to learn out of this, keep an open mind. Try to consider all possibilities. Try to be as respectful from all aspects of each scenario, because I'll tell you, too many coincidental things have happened, and I am left in this particular state. And that's what I will say. I will probably never be the same. I will have to really kind of be as truly as empathetic and respectful even more to the things that I am told. And I mean, you have no idea what it's like to watch from the corners of your eye, hoping that that this thing that you possibly were playing with may show up. Because the reality is, I've heard a lot of stories from people that have played with this fire and got called out. And it shows up. And those people are never the same. I feel like I've walked away. I've lost, I took a loss, but at the end of the day, it could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. If I can tell you one thing, it's this. Don't take things for granted. Always have a really open mind. It's left this giant impression on me. Even in my art, I'll never be the same. But I can tell you one thing for sure. Don't visit the devil. Don't knock on the door, because he might be home. That level, too many things have been happening. So, here we go. Trying to do this one-handed. Very end of the bag. The original brick. The shards of glass within the wall. This will be the one that we... So, this is what I brought home with me. And just that from a church. That's right. But this. So we are going to just put some sacred salt of the earth. Jesus doesn't mind. That's right. Packed it in salt. We have your Lord watching over that. And let us not forget the holy water. I think we're good to go. Now to put it in storage.